Well, we'll do a quick little snippet, little update here. We got the dash and the windshield back mounted to the boat, and the whole bow structure re-supported. So you can see it's nice and concave again, convex again, like it's supposed to be. Pushed it back up into place. We were going to make a dash out of aluminum. We ended up taking the original dash and tracing it out, cutting a piece of wood to go back in there. I think it'll look cooler. We'll go over and treat that with something, at final assembly. But I was really excited I was able to reuse this tray. It's a really cool little tray that attached to the bottom of the original dash, and a buddy of mine has been helping me, took the thing and cleaned it all up and polished it, and it's really nice. Like, I think this dash is going to come in, or the tray is going to be slick, because somewhere over here on this side of the dash I'm going to have one of those marine little control centers where you have all your switches for everything in the boat, the lights, the bilge pumps, blower, horn, all that type of stuff. And they usually have a couple USB ports, cigarette lighter. Some of them got like a little digital voltmeter on them, but I want to have one of those mounted on the dash on this side. So it'll be nice having this tray. Set your phone, just random articles, whatever. It's a really nice little kind of a cool little thing that they did way back in the day when they built this boat, and it's still relevant. If anything, it's more relevant now. It's we got somewhere to set our phone, so we had to build, because we moved the dash forward. You can see where this piece of the gunnel ends right there. That's where the dash was. So we moved it that much forward, so we ended up building off of this angle iron that we're going to eventually weld totally in place, and just building little support brackets off of it to hold the dash up and to hold the tray up. So and along the top they had just a bunch of screws going into the top of that. I'd like to do the same. I'm gonna have to. It's kind of a little bit wrinkly or whatever along here. But I was gonna put I got just a piece of flat bar. I think 1 inch wide, real thin. Just kind of set it on top here as a trim piece, so we don't have that raw edge, and have it so it kind of overlaps out onto the wood a little bit, and then put the screws in that hold the top of that. So underneath here, there's a bunch of, you can see where these screws are located. There's wood going, there's 1-bys going that support that skin. So those came up to the back side of the wood dash here, and there was little 90-degree aluminum brackets where they attached the wood to the dash. So I used the screws just temporarily to pull the wood back up into place where it's supposed to be. I don't think I'm going to use those aluminum brackets because they by the time you figure the thickness of the 1-by that's behind there comes down to here, and then you got a bracket that comes down even further yet. So that would really put a damper on the real estate on the dash. Getting gauges and everything in there. If they're in line with these pieces of wood, you would be restricted to doing gauges and bigger stuff like in between these. So I don't want to use those brackets. I think what I'm going to do, now that it's all pulled back into place, I'm going to just take a 1-by. I think I got a couple 1x4s, or I think I have 1x2s too. But I'm just going to go underneath there, start at this side and go all the way across this way, directly behind this, so it butts up to it, and screw it into the bottom of all those pieces of wood that support the dash. and it'll give me, you know, a somewhat thick, some meat between those two pieces of wood to screw into this, but not so damn far down into the dash. I could come up here a little bit higher up and use real long, you know, screws at each one of these locations here. So I'm going to give that a shot. I think it'll give it good support anyways too. If you you know, start in the middle with a port power and put an arched piece of wood in this way, if not another one farther up, you know, maybe we do two of them, and you know, we can bridge all of those pieces that are coming, the original pieces that are coming this way, and I think it'll help to stiffen up the deck up there, you know, because chances are there's going to be people stepping on this, you know, when it's done. So I think we're going to try and do that. And then out here, now that we have, this isn't exactly true with that rear bar up there on the top, which that's dead true with the boat. And the dash is sitting, I think, a little high on that side. But underneath these gunnels right now, there are pieces of wood and shims wedged in there to get these gunnels to come and sit where the way they're supposed to be. I don't know if you remember several videos ago, but these things were all curled up, especially up here at the front, from the sandblasting. We got a little too rowdy with the sandblasting, and it curled these gunnels all up. So right now there's still pieces of wood that are wedged in there to get those to get the gunnels to stay where we want them. So I think now that we have the windshield bolted back down, the dash is bolted back down, all the slack is taken back out of the bow, I think we're going to start by doing from the angle iron down to this rib here. It's going to be our first vertical support. They're just going to be pieces of flat bar that go up, and we're going to work our way down. I don't know how many we're going to do. Obviously back here you're going to have a bulkhead. There's going to be a big face right there, the front of the engine compartment. But, you know, I don't know, maybe every other rib or something, we'll work our way up, and we're going to have vertical supports to tie the floor structure into the gunnels, and just kind of lock the whole boat down. You know, all of this stuff may prove to be we're stiffening the boat up too much, and we just keep breaking welds and whatever. We'll go from there. I would rather it be too stiff and have issues from that than have it not be stiff enough and the frickin' boat rips itself apart. You know, we're gonna tie everything all together here. And we thought about it. You know, if we come essentially from just on the outside of these ribs, and we come all the way up to right here and butt up to this angle iron, we could use these verticals. We could lay a piece of wood, carpeted wood, along this way that only comes up halfway, and using those vertical supports as something to attach to, we could have cubbies. We could have, you know, like you see in a lot of boats. We can come from the engine compartment, we can go all the way up, and we can have little storage cubbies, you know, the length of the interior, essentially, you know, for little stuff, dock lines and, you know, all that type of stuff. So you can see how much we moved the windshield forward. Here's your original hole. So it's 6 inches or something like that. About as much as we could before we were going to have issues up here with the windshield starting to interfere with the, you know, the outside of the boat here. This piece in the center of this boat, I don't know if you can see that, but we drilled these out, but it was riveted, and it was factory riveted. This black coating was over top of these rivets. So this windshield, even though it has a hinge, it was never a flip-out windshield. It was locked in place. So I want this to open, you know. So we haven't put the vertical supports in, you know, the windshield supports that, you know, go on these and go down. But we stuck them in there. They're not going to be oriented exactly the way they were before. the relationship between the window and the dash is a little different, but they're going to come forward slightly just behind that piece of aluminum trim that I'm going to put on there. And we can space it up, and you know, if we have a little bit of an alignment issue here, like we kind of do, the way it meets up, we can correct that with those vertical supports. You know, we kind of push and pull and pry on this and get this so we have a good, this opens and closes well, because this is your fuel fill. So, you know, there's the tank up over there, but the fuel fill was just one of those little chrome deals, and it had just a straight section of hose, and then it had like a copper. Somebody made like a sort of a little dog leg piece out of copper, which is actually the right way to do it. You're supposed to use a non-sparking material for your fuel fill. So hopefully we can put this all back in the way it came out. We'll put the original or get a replacement because it was kind of grubby, and we'll make a new piece, new copper piece and everything, and be able to attach to the tank. But I want this to be able to open. So if I'm going on long hauls, we were talking about carrying extra fuel in the boat because that tank's only 19 gallons. So I got some really long hauls in mind for this boat. So we may be trying to bring a couple extra 5s of fuel. And this would be really slick. This would be really super convenient having the fuel fill right here. You go back, probably have the fuel tied down on the back of the boat, or maybe we figure some place to, you know, put them in here. If it's only 2 guys, we could put them in the back. You know, as long as you're really careful and safe about it, you don't want to have crappy, rundown, old rusty fuel cans in here. You want to have good shit in here. But you know, you can just come up here, flip the window open, and fill the tank back up. So it should be super convenient. I don't know. This is where the seam, the front piece met the rear piece. This was all riveted, and it looks like the rivets had come out, and then they put screws in, and it was butchered to hell. So we took all that crap out and ground all that stuff out, and we just welded this seam together. So the front, the gunnel, and the front are one now. So yeah, I needed another motivator. I got the engine in place, you know, so when I come out in the garage, I got something to actually look at, you know, like it's not just this hulk. It looks like a piece of shit boat, and people are wondering why it's in my garage, and everything else I own is sitting outside. Don't mind the Trump flag. I am politically, I don't pay attention to that shit at all. But I got a couple hard-nosed buddies who, I wasn't even here. They come and hang out here when I'm not here, and they came here and hung that damn Trump flag up. So please don't, like, unsubscribe to my channel because I have a stupid Trump flag. I'm indifferent. I'm not saying one thing or the other, but I am saying I did not put that up. So I apologize for that. For anybody who doesn't like Trump, and there's a lot of people who don't like Trump, but just please don't take it too seriously. It's probably going to come back down. Anyways, I got the engine in there, so it's, you know, I could come in here and look at the thing, and it looks like I'm actually, you know, building something worthwhile, not just this piece of shit, you know, gutted out Hulk. So I figured, we got the engine in there now. Let's fix the front of the boat too. Let's get the bow back up to where it's supposed to be, and get the windshield mounted and get the dash in it. So it looks like a boat again. It doesn't look like a piece of shit up here, you know, with all the slack and a bunch of garbage laying on the front of the boat. It looks like a boat again. You know, we got ourselves a boat here again. So we can kind of get an idea what we're going to do for interior space, and you know, I can come in here and actually feel like I'm working on something worthwhile, I guess. I don't know. I have to do that. In these long-term projects, I have to. I will just continue working on this one part of the project that is going to completely disappear when it's done, and you're never going to see it again. and I spend just days and months working on that stuff. You know, like the Jeep. When I had to put floors in my Jeep, that was just grueling, brutal, just awful work. And you never see it again. You cover it up, you put the carpet back in it, and it's gone. All those months of welding and wire wheeling and grinding, it was just miserable work. It just disappears. So, I don't know, where the hell was I going with this? So I got to get out of doing that kind of stuff. The brutal, you know, just day in and day out doing the same shit over and over and over again. And I have to do something, you know, instant gratification type of stuff. Like, you know, let's get the dash back in this poor boat. So I like it. I really like the way the boat looks now. With the windshield pushed forward and the dash pushed forward. It kind of looks more like a utility boat. You know, it's got the profile of a little work boat. Like it's on its way to do a job, and that's the look I want to go for with this thing. I want to paint the entire thing flat gray when it's completely done. So, you know, like look like a Navy boat, and I want to make this thing look like it's a little patrol boat. I want to hide all of the horsepower back there with the engine compartment. I don't want people to look at this boat twice. I want it to just look like something that's StarCraft made from the factory. You know, I'm going to put the original StarCraft sticker back on the side of it and everything. So, yeah, it looks good. I'm stoked. And just back here, the only thing that we did was, these aren't totally complete yet, but we made these. The motor is mounted now to the boat. I ended up cutting it a little farther from the last video. I moved it down a little bit more and got a little bit better angle. They say you don't want to have more than 4 degrees of misalignment with that center yoke. So they want the engine and the pump on the exact same plane. And in this case, they were both 5 degrees. The pump is at 5 degrees. The engine is at 5 degrees. Now, between the two, you have this double cardan unit, and in order to, they don't want that to be 0. You don't want this to be 100% true, or you will have vibrations, harmonics. So they want a little bit of misalignment with this, but no more than 4 degrees. I don't understand why this is so critical. It seems like this should be able to handle way more misalignment. And still, half of the people I talk to on forums and Facebook and everything else tell me that it doesn't matter, that they've gotten away with way more misalignment than that. But you got a lot of hard-nosed guys too that are like, nope, absolutely not, no more than 4 degrees. It will create harmonics and you'll end up damaging the crankshaft. So, I don't know, I stuck with that. This thing is exactly 4 degrees off from the pump and the engine. The engine is up a little bit, and mostly because it has to be. I cannot go down any farther. I don't know if you probably can't see it, but yeah, you probably won't be able to see it very well, but the oil pan is extremely close to the intake mounting bolts coming up through there, the nuts. It's really close. So I can't go down any farther. That's as far down as I can go. And fortunately, it came to 4 degrees off back here. So these tabs, being that they're going into a rectangle tube, it was kind of tricky. We cut slots, and I took square nuts and welded little steel tabs to them. And then I cut into the side of the tubing here. So you feed that in and tighten up the bolt. Does that compromise the strength of the tubing? I don't know. Maybe a little tiny bit. Probably not. I don't think so. This is 1/4 inch thick. So I don't think it's a problem. But these will final assembly, these will have to be coated with something, powder coated or something in between them and the aluminum. That's going to cause all kinds of problems. And then the only thing we were talking about doing was gusseting these. You know, so we're not just relying on a web of aluminum. Probably take little 45s and tie these things together. And these are 1/2 inch bolts, so I think they're overkill. A lot of times you only see 3/8 bolts, but yeah, I think they will work great when like I said, final assembly will do all these little knick-knack things. But so yeah, I think now that the dash is in, as much as I hate to admit it, I got to get going on the front floor structure here. I got to put the front stringers in and the front gussets in. You know, more grueling, just hard labor. Not going to be fun at all. But I got a lot of practice back here, so this should go quicker. The tubing I'm going to use up here is a lot thinner than this, so it's not going to take 200 amps to burn into the tubing, and I'm not going to eat all my consumables alive like I have been doing with that 200 amp stuff. It's a 150 amp torch, and all that stuff is all the consumables, everything's all 150 amp. It's not rated to do that stuff, so it just destroys everything. I've already had to replace the entire torch because I pretty much melted it. So in the front, this shouldn't be as bad. The gussets aren't going to be as tall. You're still going to have the same amount of welding in here. If we do every single rib, I don't know if we will. I'm not entirely sure yet. We may do every other one up here, but it'd probably be better if we did every other one. And then we're going to have to go in between the stringers too. Not every rib, but probably every other rib up through the center here. We should bridge between the stringers. But once we can get that stuff in and get once the floor structure is in here, then the next thing after that is going to be the mount for the tank up there. And I'm still up in the air on where I want to put the batteries. I would love both of the batteries to be up in the bow as far forward as physically possible, but for some reason I'm having trouble coming to grips with having the batteries right next to the fuel tank, even though I know they're going to be in enclosed, you know, little battery boxes. I don't know. It just seems like you're flirting with disaster having batteries right next to the fuel tank. But maybe I can, once I get this floor in here and I figure out where the tank's going to sit, maybe I can come up with something to make it work. I just want to get as much weight as physically possible up there in the front, and I do want 2 batteries, so that's a considerable amount of weight. I would love it if it was all up there with the weight of the fuel, and we don't add any more weight back here, like none, like just the hood and the bulkhead, and then just skin and carpet, like be done with it, like not add much more, maybe no more than 7,500 pounds back here, hopefully, and try and get it all up there, because otherwise the batteries are probably going to have to come back in here, and I would rather the weight be up there. So I guess we'll see. Like I said, floor, I got to do the floor up here, the whole grid structure up here, but that's why I did the dash and did the motor, so I got something to look at, you know, pleasing to the eyes, while I crawl back in here and do the rest of this grueling frickin' welding. So yeah, I've been out here every night though. I'm thrashing. I know this doesn't look like much, but that was a lot of measuring, a lot of this took it's taken me all week to get this just right, to get the windshield and the dash and everything to agree with each other, to get the gunnels at the right orientation, and to get everything to meet up and everything to line up and look like it's supposed to. Like, this was actually a lot more difficult than it looks. It didn't just go back together by any means. Everything didn't want to fit quite right because we moved it all forward, so there was a different amount of slack in the aluminum in the deck up there. So it didn't want to everything didn't want to work together. The dash didn't want to work with the windshield, the gunnels didn't want to work with the windshield, the gunnels didn't want to work with the dash. It was a nightmare. I'm glad that's all done, and it's all just kind of back structurally sound again. So, and it's a tank. It's nice. You could, right now, the way it sits, you could stand on that bow. So, and there's going to be a lot more support added up there. So I'm excited about that. So yeah, I'll quit rambling. This was supposed to be a quick video once again, and yeah, here we are. What is it? Yep, 24 minutes, 5 minutes. Great. yeah, so thanks for watching. Maybe next update will be, hopefully we got a floor grid in here. And maybe even a couple pieces of floor in there. It'd be really nice to be able to work on all the rest of this stuff and have a frickin' floor to step on in here and not me, my gimpy ass, tripping, stumbling over these damn ribs. God, am I ever tired of that. It sucks working in this damn boat without a flat floor. So, yeah, that'll probably be the next video. Yeah, so thanks for watching.